Hey guys, and welcome to the Impromptu Storytime with Bob show. Because YouTube decided that they wanted to be a bunch of dicks and keep me from watching a movie that nobody otherwise wanted to watch. Yeah. Bob show angry. Yeah.
No, we're making the best of it. We're gonna have fun anyway.
Yes. As you tweeted, we got lemons. And what do we do with lemonade? Or what do you do with lemons?
Make some kick-ass lemonade.
You throw them back and say, "Hey, give me what I wanted. I didn't want no damn lemons." All right.
Everybody has to go to Vimeo this weekend and watch it.
Yes. All my other Vimeo videos are on private because they're patrons only.
Except for Spirited Away.
Except for Spirited Away, yes. Yes. We've got that Anime show, Spirited Away, which was so well received by my public. And that's the complete and uncut riff of Merlin's Shop of Mystical Wonders. Sorry, Gabe. And sorry, everyone who wanted to see this live but couldn't. But there you go.
He doesn't think he's going to have the same problem with Manos later on, so...
I would be really surprised if the same thing happened with Manos. I've seen so many copies of that on YouTube, and they're all still up. So maybe that's a safe bet. and it's really ironic because we just had this conversation the other night, or last night rather, with Gabe. He asked me what would make for good riffing stock, something that YouTube wouldn't pick up on, and I'm a dumbass. I don't know. All I can do is guess what's going to make for a safe movie. Thought that Merlin's Shop would be safe, but apparently not. But, as you said,
Grace is right. Public domain movies are generally the safest way to go.
Well, yeah.
But you have to weigh the risk in all cases.
Yes, because how do you really know?
The movie might be in the public domain, but you may have a piece of music in the movie that gets dinged for copyright.
Really?
You never can tell. The algorithm is screwy.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, shouldn't be a problem with Manos. We're here now. We're going to do some story time until about, 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock is pushing it. I've still got to finish my scripts for Manos. That shows you how well prepared I am for this.
Well, when would you have finished with Merlin's Shop of Mystical Wonders?
It would have been about 2:30.
Alright, so we'll go until 2:30.
Yeah,
it's not even an hour, babe.
I know it's not. I'm sorry. We are really off the cuff here. Let's see. I was going to delve into Ozma of Oz here again. Do we have enough time for a single chapter? No, of course. Of course, we got a really long chapter here, which I didn't even take into account for. I'm so prepared. Or do we go into Grimm for this?
Go into Grimm.
Go into Grimm, okay. Excuse me while I turn off my camera here. Don't want to ruin the magic here for you guys. Let's see. There we go. Oh no, I'm gone! It's all up to you, baby.
No.
Yes. Here. Doing stuff hurts. Okay.
It's now the Raven show. It's going to be a very boring show.
Yes, it's all up to you, baby. You can do it.
I can't do it.
You can do it. You must. Okay. Do we have people who are giving you voices?
Oh, yes. We
Okay.
have voice suggestions. We are a go.
We are go. Okay, good. And poof, I'm back. I have rematerialized my magic self. And we are continuing on with the 3 spinners. And I forget where we were here, so if this sounds familiar from last night's stream, then whatever. What are we starting with?
We're starting with Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka.
Then the woman was ashamed to reveal the laziness of her daughter and said, "I cannot get her to leave off spinning. She insists on spinning forever and ever, and I am poor and cannot procure the flax." Then the queen answered, There is nothing that I like better than to hear that I like to hear than spinning.
Wow, you are really bored, lady.
And I am never happier than when the wheels are humming. Let me have your daughter with me in the palace. I have flax enough, and there she shall spin as much as she likes. Ha! Next.
Barnaby Collins from Dark Shadows.
Let's see. The mother was heartily satisfied with this. You have to
That's
excuse me.
good.
Sorry, I only know Johnny Depp's.
Oh, is there any other?
And all of the fans of the show were saying, boo!
Well, screw them then.
The mother was heartily satisfied with this, and the queen took the girl with her. When they arrived at the palace, she led her into 3 rooms, which were filled from the bottom to the top with the finest flax. Now spin
Ooh,
me
Zoom
this flax.
froze bad.
Hmm?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
It says my internet connection is unstable.
Oh,
What?
scheiße.
It froze bad for me.
Let me see what you look like on my end here. You still look perfectly fine on the stream, I think. Can you guys hear her all right? Just gotta wait for lag to catch up here. Turinga says that they can see and hear you fine.
It keeps cutting out.
Ooh, you skipped out a bit there. Zachary and the Raboot squad can hear you. And see you. Yep, yes, yep. Dasim says, no, you're screwing it all up, Dasim! Getting a whole lot of yeses here. Except for Dasim, who says that you're mute. How's that work?
I'm not sure.
I can hear, but she is freezing a lot, says Megan Willard. Crap. I'm sorry, this is just awful.
Alright, just go with it.
Just go with it, okay.
Go with it. We'll make the best.
Sorry. What do we have next?
Claire says she doesn't see or hear me at all? How is that possible?
I don't know.
Okay. Next is Torgo.
Do I give them a little bit of taste of what's to come?
No, you read the story in Torgo's voice.
Just read the story, okay. Now spin me this flax, said she, and when thou hast done it, thou shalt have my eldest son for a husband. But you have 6 husbands. Why can't I have one for myself? And even if thou art poor, I care not for that. Thy indefatigable industry is dowry enough.
Let's keep the voice suggestions just simple for this since it's so short, guys.
I'm sorry. We
Let's
suck.
not have this one as that one and the other one with, going insane and drunk and bubbled and all this stuff. Let's just keep it simple. Keep it simple.
But on that topic, here you go. De-stress, baby.
Oh, I know, right? I don't have time. Next is Sweetler, and I think I will take a puff.
There we go.
Stressed.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
The girl was secretly terrified.
Yes, you want to make use of your bubble pipe while I'm doing her.
For she could not have spun the flax. No, not if she had lived till she was 300 years old, and had sat at it every day from morning till night. When therefore she was alone, she began to weep, and sat thus for 3 days without moving a finger. On the 3rd day came the queen, and when she saw that nothing had been spun yet, she was surprised. But the girl excused herself by saying that she had not been able to begin because of her great distress at leaving her mother's house. The queen was satisfied with this, but said when she was going away, "Tomorrow thou must begin to work."
Hi, sweet love! Next.
Ichabod, the optimistic canine.
When the girl was alone again, she did not know what to do, and in her distress, she went to the window. When she saw 3 women coming towards her, the woman of whom had a broad flat foot, the second had a great underlip that hung down over her chin, and the third had a broad thumb. They remained standing with her before the window, looked up, and asked the girl what was amiss with her. Lemons!
I
Next.
love Ichabod.
Everyone loves Ichabod.
Bob's show is secretly Ichabod, the optimistic canine. I'm convinced.
It didn't have a chance.
What in the world? I can't even read my handwriting. What was that?
Uh-oh.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't read. I don't think I finished writing it. The Chamberlain.
She complained of her trouble, and when they offered her their help and said, "If thou wilt invite us to wedding, not be ashamed of us, and wilt call us thine aunts, and likewise wilt place us at thy table, we will spin up the flax for thee, and that in a very short time. Yes." "With all my heart," she replied. "Do but come in, and begin work at once."
Love him. Next.
Tweety Bird.
Sorry?
Tweety Bird.
Tweety birds. Yeah, sorry, you did in fact cut out there for a bit.
I'm not surprised, but we're just going with it.
We're just going with it! For another 35 minutes at least.
Everything's fine.
Everything is fine.
Then she wedded the 3 strange men, and quilled the place in the first room, where they seated themselves and began their spinning. The one drew the head of the thread and trod the wheel, the other wetted the thread, the third twisted it, and struck the table with her finger. And as often as she struck it, a skein of threads fell to the ground and spun in the finest manner possible. The girl concealed the 3 spinners from the queen, and showed her whenever she came the great quantity of spun thread, until the latter could not praise her enough. What do we have next?
You know what's probably the problem? I wasn't expecting to be on video, so I didn't restart my computer.
Oh dear.
That's probably what it is.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah. Next is Kermit.
When the first room was spun, she went to the second, and the last to the third, and that too quickly cleared. Then 3 women took leave, and said to the girl, "Do not forget what thou hast promised us. It will make thy fortune." When the maiden showed the queen the empty rooms, and the great heap of yarn, she gave orders for the wedding, and the bridegroom rejoiced that he was to have such a clever and industrious wife, and praised her mightily.
Because the way to a man's heart is through his appreciation for spinning. Next.
By the way, there was a birthday that was, someone's birthday is tomorrow, and I didn't get a chance to mention it before. I think his name was Assail. Happy birthday, Assail, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Wow, if that's true, then that's awesome. Apparently, Assail shares a birthday with Mark Hamill.
Give adorable nurse some sexy Starscream, because she's got work in 3 minutes. Send her off right.
I will send you off right just fine, nurse. "I have 3 aunts," said the girl, "and as they have been very kind to me, I should not like to forget them in my good fortune. Allow me to invite them to the wedding, Lord Megatron, and let them sit with us at table." The queen and the bridegroom said, "Why should we not allow that?" Next.
Next is a sponsored post, but from now on, please don't do sponsored posts, because we're not going to have time to get to them.
Thank you.
We have to stop at 2:30, but thank you, Theropod Hunter, beginning with Hannibal Lecter.
This is such a weird stream. Therefore, when the feast began, the 3 women entered in strange apparel, and the bride said, "Welcome, dear aunts." "Ah," said the bridegroom, "how comest thou by these odious friends?" Thereupon he went to the one with the broad flat foot and said, "How do you come by such a broad foot?" By treading, she answered. By treading. And the final voice for the story?
Sean Connery.
Nice. Then the bridegroom went to the second and said, "How do you come by your falling lip?" "By licking," she answered. "By licking." What? Then he asked the third, "How do you come by your broad thumb?" But I'm sorry, this is a rather dirty question here that I totally missed. How do you come by your falling lip? By licking.
Shame.
You love it. How do you come by your broad thumb? By twisting the thread, she answered. By twisting the thread. On this the king's son was alarmed and said, "Neither now nor ever shall my beautiful bride touch a spinning wheel." And thus she got rid of the hateful flax spinning. Hooray! What the hell's the moral of that? Alright, and now we are moving on to the exact same story, Rumpelstiltskin. Starting with who?
Starting with the final of that sponsored post, Roger Moore.
Sorry, don't know Roger Moore. At Raven with a different voice, please, thereupon.
Okay, then the next one is Minion.
Once there was a miller who was poor but who had a beautiful daughter. Now it happened that they had to go and speak to the king, and in order to make himself a bit important to me, said, "I have a daughter who can spin straw into gold." The king said to the miller, "Daughters are not which will please me well. If your daughter is as clever as you say, bring her tomorrow in my place, and then we'll try to see what you can do."
Hello.
Hello. Next.
Okay, no more sponsored posts, guys. Please, we're not going to have time to get to all of them.
I'm sorry.
But we do have a sponsored post from Demolisher who would like Gilbert Gottfried.
Of course he would. And when the girl was brought to him, he took her into a room which was quite full of straw, gave her a spinning wheel and a reel, and said, "Now set to work, and if by tomorrow morning early you have not spun this straw into gold during the night, you must die." Thereupon he himself locked up the room and left her in it alone. And aren't you lucky that that just happened to be a very short passage? So now I can stop doing the Gilbert Gottfried voice. See, this is why we had to see you.
Because you like to torture me?
Yes. Yes, we do.
You're horrible.
They're all horrible. But we love
You are horrible.
Don't
You're
stop.
supposed to love me.
I do love you. Privately.
Alright.
Don't stop being
Sexy
horrible, guys.
Jerome.
Sexy Jerome. See? See, they do love you.
Yes, it's from the same person that suggested Gilbert Gottfried, so no.
Of course it is.
So there sat the poor miller's daughter, and for the life of her could not tell what to do. She had no idea how straw could be spun into gold, and she grew more and more miserable, until at last she began to weep. You know?
Next.
In place of Roger Moore, I'll get it out in a minute. The suggestion is Scar.
Scar. But all at once the door opened, and in came a little man, and said, "Good evening, Mistress Miller. Why are you crying so?" "Alas," answered the girl, "I have to spin straw into gold, and I do not know how to do it." "What will you give me?" said the mannequin. M-A-N-I-K-I-N. Mannequin. Okay. "What will you give me if I do it for you?" "My necklace," said the girl. Next.
Next is Dr. Claw.
The little man took the necklace, seated himself in front of the wheel, and whir, 3 turns, and the reel was full. Then he put on another, and whir, 3 times around, and the second was full too. And so it went on until the morning, when all the straw was spun, and all the reels were full of gold. I'll get you next time, mannequin. Next time.
Next.
Harley Quinn.
By daybreak, the king was already there, and when he saw the gold, he was astonished and delighted, but his heart became only more greedy. He had the miller's daughter taken into another room full of straw, which was much larger, and commanded her to spin that also in one night if she valued her life. The girl knew not how to help herself, and was crying, when the door opened again, and the little man appeared and said, "What will you give me if I spin that straw into gold for you, puddin'?"
Next.
Animal from the Muppets.
Ah! Ring on my finger! Ring on my finger! Ha 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 ha! Little man took ring, began to turn wheel. By morning, spun all straw into gold. Ha 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 ha! Next.
Miss Piggy.
The king rejoiced beyond measure at the sight, but still he had not gold enough, and he had the miller's daughter take it into a still larger room full of straw, and said, "You must spin this too in the course of this night, but if you succeed, you shall be my wife." Even if she be a miller's daughter, thought he, I could not find a richer wife in the whole world.
Next.
Stewie.
What the deuce?
When the girl was alone, the mannequin came again for the third time and said, "What will you give me if I spin this straw into gold this time also?" "I have nothing left that I could give," answered the girl. "Then promise me, if you should become queen, your first child."
Next.
Herbert the Pervert.
God.
Who knows whether that will happen, thought the miller's daughter, and, not knowing how to help herself in this strait, she promised the mannequin what he wanted, and for that he once more span the straw into gold. Oh yeah, give me that firstborn baby.
Ew! That's gross.
Yes. Yes, it is. Next.
Shrek from, no. Puss in Boots from Shrek.
And when the king came in the morning, he found all as he had wished. And welcome back to the, how do you say? Ah yes, show. He found all that he had wished. He took her in marriage, and the pretty miller's daughter became a queen. A year after, she had a beautiful child, and she never gave a thought to the mannequin. But suddenly he came into her room and said, "Now, give me what you promised." "But I'm not pregnant yet." "Oh, I know." Next.
What you think Sheila Vixen sounds like.
Oh, wow. The queen was horror-struck, and offered the mannequin all the riches of the kingdom if he would leave her the child. But the mannequin said, "No, something that is living is dearer to me than all the treasures in the world. Oh, he's so nice." Then the queen began to weep and cry, so that the mannequin pitied her. "I will give you 3 days' time," said he. "If by that time you find out my name, then you shall keep your child." Next.
Yukon Cornelius.
But who am I? So the queen thought the whole night of all the names that she had ever heard, and she sent the messenger over to the country to inquire, far and wide, for any other names that there might be. When the mannequin came the next day, she began with Casper, Melchior, Balthazar, and said all the names that she knew, one after another. But to every one, the little man said, "That is not my name!" Is it Yukon Cornelius? Perhaps you guessed it. Next.
Gollum.
Gollum. Before we do Gollum, I gotta point this out. Fans of MST3K probably think that this illustration of Rumpelstiltskin looks a little familiar. Hi! I'm Springy! The No Spring Sprite, they call me! No Springs!
Oh my goodness.
On the second day, she had inquiries made in the neighborhood as to the names of the people there, and she repeated to the mannequin the most uncommon and curious. Perhaps your name is Short Ribs, or Sheep Shakes, or Lace Leg.
What?
Short ribs, sheep shakes, or lace leg.
Wow.
Very imaginative parents in this town.
But he always answered, "That is not my name."
Is it Gollum?
Damn it!
Next.
Sideshow Bob.
On the third day, the messenger came back and said, I have not been able to find a single new name, but as I came to a high mountain at the end of the forest, where the fox and the hare bid each other good night, there I saw a little house, and before the house a fire was burning, and round about the fire quite a ridiculous little man was jumping. He hopped upon one leg and shouted, Today I bake, tomorrow I brew, the next day I'll have the young queen's child. Ha, glad I am that no one knew that Rumpelstiltskin I am styled. And the last two names for this story?
Bagheera from the original Jungle Book.
You may think how glad the queen was when she heard the name. And when soon afterwards the little man came in and asked, Now, Mistress Queen, what is my name? At first she said, Is your name Conrad? No. Is your name Harry? No. Is your name Mowgli? Oh, come on! And the final one?
Don Knotts.
Well, perhaps your name is Rumpelstiltskin! The devil has told you that! The devil has told you that! Cried the little man, and in his anger, he plunged his right foot so deep into the earth that his whole leg went in. And then, in a rage, he pulled out his left leg so hard with both hands that he tore himself in two. The end, kids!
Next story.
Just
We'll
tore-
start it. We won't finish it.
Just
But
tore himself in half. We might finish this one. It's a very short
Okay.
one called The Queen Bee. And who do we have for the Queen Bee?
the Cheshire Cat.
The two kings' sons went out in search of adventure and fell into a wild, disorderly way of living, so that they never came home again. The youngest, who was called Simpleton, set out to seek his brothers.
Wow, thanks, Mom. Let's see, what should we call this baby? Duh. I know, Simpleton.
But when at length he found them, they mocked him for thinking that he was with his simplicity could get through the world, when they too could not make their way, and yet were so much cleverer.
Next.
Next, Hup.
There you go, baby.
I love Hup.
Because he is Paladin.
Paladin.
They all three traveled way together, came to an anthill. Two elder wanted to destroy it, see little ants creeping about in terror, and carry eggs away. But Simpleton said, Leave creatures in peace, we'll not allow you to disturb them. Because Simpleton, also Paladin!
Yes, we did hear that Dark Crystal Age of Resistance got canceled. I am hopeful that it will be picked up by another studio, maybe Amazon or something like that, because it needs to go on
Yes,
in that format. I don't want any kind of comic book bullshit. I want more of what we saw.
Yes, a
You know
continuation.
what won the Emmy?
Hmm?
You know the thing that won the Emmy right
Oh.
before they canceled it? Netflix is stupid.
Yes, they are. Cancelled MST3K, cancelled Dark Crystal. Oh, but, cuties, let that fly. Next.
Frank Nelson.
At length, they came to a... Oh, sorry. Missed a little bit here. Oh, yes. Then they went onwards and came to a lake, on which a great number of ducks were swimming. Oh, yes. The two brothers wanted to catch a couple and roast them, but Simpleton would not permit it, and said, "Leave the creatures in peace. I will not suffer you to kill them. Oh, no." Next.
Doug from Up.
At length they came to a bee's nest, and I like the bees because they are my master, in which there was so much honey that it ran out of the trunk of the tree where it was. The two wanted to make a fire beneath the tree and suffocate the bees in order to take the honey away, but Simpleton again stopped them and said, "Leave the creatures in peace. I will not allow you to burn them, because I love you."
You forgot the other one.
Apparently I did. What other one? Sorry, I will read that final sentence again. "Leave the creatures in peace. I will not allow you to burn..." Squirrel!
Very good, very good.
"Leave the creatures in peace. I will not allow you to burn them."
Eric Cartman.
Ooh, that looks like a bird. I think it is a bird.
I love Doug. I love that whole movie.
At length, the three brothers arrived at a castle where the stone horses were standing in the stables, and no human being was to be seen. And they went through all the halls until, quite at the end, they came to a door in which there were 3 locks. In the middle of the door, however, there was a little pane, and through which they could see into the room. And then they said, "Aye! You can have that room or I'll kick you in the nuts!"
Next.
Milky Marvin.
God. There they saw a little gray man. Oh! Who was sitting at the table. They called him once. Oh! Twice. Oh! But he did not hear. At last they called him for a 3rd time. Oh! And when he got up, opened the locks, and came out. And what do we have next?
Helix the cat.
He said nothing, however, but conducted them to a handsomely spread table, and when they had eaten and drunk, he took them to a bedroom. Next morning, the little gray man came to the eldest, beckoned to him, and conducted him to a stone table, on which were inscribed 3 tasks, by the performance of which the castle could be delivered. The first was that in the forest, beneath the moss, lay the princess's pearls. 1,000
You
in
said you were
number.
dice claying it. Trixie said you were dice claying it. Oh.
Hickory dickory dock! Oh!
The pearls, which were 1,000 in number, which must be picked up, and if by sunset 1 single pearl was wanting, he who had looked for them would be turned to stone.
Wow, that sucks. Next.
Cool cat. Been so long since you've done just a straight up cool cat with no extra extraneous qualifiers.
Like, getting frisky with. And again, sorry that you're not here to see this, Gabe. I know that he's your man.
The eldest went thither and sat the whole day, and it was a beautiful whole day. Yay! But when it came to the end, he had only found 100, and what was written on the table came to pass, and he was changed to stone. Oh no! What shall we do about that?
Next.
Marvin the Martian.
Next day, the second brother undertook the adventure. It did not, however, fare much better with him than with the eldest. He did not find more than 200 pearls, and was changed to stone. And that made him very angry. What do we have next?
Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka.
At last the turn came to Simpleton also, who sought in the moss. It was, however, so hard to find the pearls, and he got on so slowly, that he seated himself on a stone and wept. And while he was thus sitting, The king of the ants, whose life he had once saved, came with 5,000 ants, and before long the little creatures had got all the pearls together and laid them in a heap. So the ants stole the pearls? You little bastards, you should die. Next.
Optimus Prime. Again, so rare to get just a straight up Optimus without any qualifiers.
Right?
Enjoy it while you can.
Ugh. And then next week, back to improv! The second task, however, was to fetch out the lake... was to fetch out of the lake the key of the king's daughter's bedchamber. When Simpleton came to the lake, the ducks which he had saved swam up to him, dived down, and brought out the key of the water. Next. And
Walken's King Louie.
And this is for you, Grace. Auto ducks, transform, and give me the key. By the third task was much more difficult, and from among the 3 sleeping daughters of the king was the youngest and dearest to be sought out. They, however, resembled each other exactly, and were only to be distinguished by their having eaten different sweetmeats before they fell asleep. Sure, you can identify them by what they ate before, makes sense. Next.
Next is Yax from Zootopia. Wasn't he the yoga guru, the nudist?
That makes a lot of sense.
Am I wrong about that? I don't know for sure.
I don't remember a Yax by name, although I'm thinking of the only other Yak character in that, and yeah, it's probably the guy from the Naturalist Club, man.
Yeah. Wasn't he played by, Keech Marin?
Chong.
Chong, okay.
Yeah, all the voices that they do, and they never appear in the same movie. It's weird. The eldest a bit of sugar, the second a little syrup, and the youngest a spoonful of honey. Then the queen of the bees, which Simpleton had protected from the fire, came and tasted the lips of all 3, and at last she remained sitting on the mouth which had eaten honey, and thus the king's son recognized the right princess, man. Okay, I call foul. The idea is to identify these sleeping princesses by tasting what's on their lips. Bixby, I didn't ask you. Shut up.
That.
I know you didn't understand that because I didn't ask you anything. All my AI just wants to be a part of what I do. Sometimes
Everybody loves you.
Sometimes Cortana shows up. Sometimes Bixby. Leave me alone. But the idea is to identify these princesses by tasting what's on their lips. I'm sorry, this sounds like a perfect opportunity to kiss all 3 while they're sleeping, like, you know, princes and princesses are supposed to do. But no, have some bees show up and do it for you. That makes sense. Let's see, the youngest had some honey. Let's see here. That tasted more sugary than honey. Maybe you?
Would you behave? Read! We're on a limited amount of time!
Yes. And the final voice for this story?
Sweeney Todd. Can't remember whose suggestion it was.
What?
It was me.
I was going to say, it must be you.
Then the enchantment was at an end. Everything was released from sleep, and those who had been turned to stone received once more their natural forms. Simpleton married the youngest and sweetest princess, and after her father's death became king, and his 2 brothers received the 2 other sisters.
Well, good to know that those 2 brothers got consolation prizes, as in wives.
So I got 7 more minutes to stream.
Shall we continue on with the 3 feathers?
Yes.
And who do we have next?
Chris Rock. Tie these feathers.
Tie these feathers! Tie these feathers! There was once on a time a king who had 3 sons, of whom 2 were clever and wise, but the 3rd did not speak much, and was simple, and was called the Simpleton. Do we just read this damn story?
I don't remember. Did you not write it down?
No.
Dumbass.
I didn't have to write this down. They're literally back to back. What the hell are you doing, Grim? When the king had become old and weak and was thinking of his end, he did not know which of his sons should inherit the kingdom after him. Probably not the one called Simpleton, you dumbass king. Next.
No, we're not doing puppets or anything like that because we're only going to be on for another 6 minutes.
I'm sorry, gotta keep it brief.
Again, that video on demand of the pre-recorded riff of Merlin and the Mystical Wonders.
That'll be available this
available
weekend.
on Saturday.
Yes.
On Vimeo.
Yes.
Because YouTube sucks.
Because YouTube sucks. There's my peanut puppet for you.
Thank you. Peter Lorre.
Then he said to them, "Go forth, and he who brings the most beautiful carpet shall be king after my death."
Really? Bring me a beautiful carpet and you win?
And that there should be no dispute among them, he took them outside his castle, blew 3 feathers in the air, and said, "You shall go as they fly."
And those raven feathers, they itch! Next.
Dan Lee.
One feather flew to the east, the other to the west, but the third flew straight up and did not fly far, but soon fell to the ground. And now one brother went to the right, the other to the left, and they mocked Simpleton, who was forced to stay where the third feather had fallen, true believers. What do we have next?
Harry Hook.
God.
At least it's just Harry Hook.
Oh, just Harry Hook now, lassie.
I'll take it.
Blech.
His voice was the best thing about him.
Too bad for everything else, right?
I know. Yeah, take it where you can get it.
He sat down and was sad. Then all at once he saw that there was a trapdoor close by the feather. He raised it up, found some steps, and went down them. And then he came to another door, knocked at it, and heard somebody inside calling, "Little green maiden small, hopping hither and thither, hop to the door, and quickly see who is there." All the while doing this.
Next.
The church lady.
So the door opened, and he saw a great fat toad sitting, and round about her a crowd of little toads. Well, isn't that special? The fat toad asked what he wanted. He answered, "I should like to have the prettiest and finest carpet in the world." Then she called a young one and said, "Little green maiden small, hopping hither and thither, hopping quickly, and bring me the greatest box there." What could be in this box, I wonder? What could it be that's in this box that this guy wants so very, very much? Could it be a satin? Carpet? Next.
Baby Sinclair.
Young Toad brought the box, and the fat Toad opened it and gave Simpleton a carpet out of it, so beautiful and so fine that on the earth above none could have been woven like it. Then he thanked her and ascended again. Yay!
Next.
The Haunted Mansion Butler. Which is the role that they should have cast you at when you went to talk to them at Disney. Tell me he wouldn't have been perfect for this role. To work in the actual Haunted Mansion.
Kindly step all the way in, please, and fill in all the dead available space. Or whatever the line is. Or just staring at people.
Oh no, that's not what I was thinking of.
No?
Who's the one that does all the talking?
Oh, the ghost host?
The ghost host, yes.
No. I can't be Paul Frees. No. I would just have to be one of the ushers leading people to their doom buggies. I would be totally fine with that.
Nope, do ghost host.
Ghost host, okay.
And I dare anybody to tell me he wouldn't have been perfect for this role.
Yeah. The two others had, however, looked on their youngest brother as so stupid that they believed he would find and bring nothing at all. Why should we give ourselves a great deal of trouble to search, said they, and got some coarse handkerchiefs from the first shepherds' wives whom they met, and carried them home to the king. Of course, there's always my way.
And the final voice of the stream will be Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
It's showtime! At the same time, Simpleton also came back and brought his beautiful carpet. But when the king saw it, he was astonished and said, "If justice be done, the kingdom belongs to the youngest." But the two others let their father have no peace, and said that it was impossible that Simpleton, who had in everything lacked understanding, should be king, and entreated him to make a new agreement with them. Sure, go ahead, shoot. Sorry to cut this one short, guys. We'll have to pick up on this story again next week when we have a proper story time stream here. And again, we will have the pre-recorded riff of Merlin Shop of Mystical Wonders available on Vimeo on Saturday, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And now...
And we will see you, all of you patrons, and there's still time to become a patron to get access to the live riff, which we do not anticipate having any problems with. It will be up at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yes.
He will be riffing Manos, the Hands of Fate, dressed as Torgo. You do not want to miss this one.
So be sure to check that one out, and I will see you later.
I'll be in the chat. See you guys there.
Takes a while for me to get anywhere. Don't judge me!